Hello, CQ, calling CQ, the old friends net. Hello, CQ, the old friends net. This is N4LQ. Steve, November 4, Lima, Quebec, Shelby, North Carolina, calling CQ, the old friends net, where everybody is welcome to check in. And I'm having some transmitter issues tonight, so bear with me. This is N4LQ. Anybody want to check in? Go ahead. Hello, CQ, CQ, the old friends net. CQ, 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 the old friends net. This is N4LQ. November 4, Lima, Quebec, calling CQ, the old friends net. Anybody wishing to check in, please call now.
WF2U.
WF2U. N4LQ. Okay, Mir. I'm having trouble tonight with my LMAC decided to quit right before the net, and I can't get any VFO, or can't get any drive, I should say. No grid drive, so maybe some kind of low voltage problem or something wrong in the driver, buffer, or oscillator. Haven't had a chance to even check it out. I got it sitting here ready to work on tonight. How are you tonight, WF2U, N4LQ?
Roger, N4LQ, this is WF2U. Good. It's been windy the whole day. Like, we had gusts of like 27, 28 miles per hour, and it feels colder than the actual temperature is because of the wind chill. But didn't do much outside anyway. I worked a little bit on the T76. I cleaned the front panel from the junk one that I'm putting in the good one. I sprayed it thinly with the almighty WD-40, and it looks beautiful, actually. I have to finish the rest of the knobs. I just cleaned the glass from the meter that I have to glue back into the frame, into the bezel, and took out a little jar of Windex, and now that is clean, ready for the crazy glue. Tomorrow I'll finish it, wrap it up, and put it together, and hopefully I'll put it on the old Transnet, so I'm sure I'll have more than enough time to do it. I'll start relatively early in the morning. I don't have too much else to do tomorrow, luckily. So that's the story. I hope you straighten out your LMAC. N4LQ, WF2U.
To you, N4LQ. Yeah, I do too. I grabbed the nearest rice box, 7300, and that's what I'm using tonight. And how's it sound? Does it sound okay to you?
It sounds just fine. I thought you were using the T150.
Yeah, well, I would if it worked on 160. It doesn't cover that band, and unfortunately, not many things do. And I grabbed the LISCO 600, and it does cover 160. Loads up just fine on 80. Got beautiful modulation, all that business, but on 160, it puts out a bunch more power, but it doesn't. The modulation doesn't work right, and it's very, very weak. And it's because of the fact that there's no way to adjust the grid drive. There's no way to adjust the oscillator tuning. There's no way to adjust the loading on the final. I mean, it's, you know, and those things are critical with screen modulation. It can just totally kill it. And so I was getting maybe 20% very weak, distorted little bit of audio on 160 because of that. So I determined not to modify it, but it really needs at least a loading control. I would increase the loading greatly on it, and the grid drive. Who knows? There's no meter for the grid current for the 807 final on the LISCO, so you have to measure the grid current. There's a resistor in series with the grid bias resistor that is made to put a voltmeter across and measure the voltage, and that gives you can calculate your grid current that way. But there's no meter, there's no switch on the meter or anything. And the original LISCO, the one that didn't have the modulator, it had a jack on it, a meter jack they called it, and you could plug a meter in and measure your grid current that way. But they took that out. And what did they do? They put something else in there, the phone switch or something. I don't know. It's just another one of those incomplete rigs, I guess. Let's see if anybody else wants to check in. This is N4LQ listening.
WB4NKL.
WB4NKL. Hello. Cliff, yeah, I'm on the rice box tonight. I ran out of rigs.
Well, I can understand. Like I say, not many of them cover 160. Sounds okay. It's a little higher pitched. I don't hear as much low in it as the LMAC, but it sounds all right. It's good clean audio. I hadn't done too much more here. After I talked to you guys on 80, I did go out and get a walk in and come back, and Larry and his brother and Dan were down on 3980, so 3880. I went down there and talked to them a while, and then went to eat dinner, and just come back out a while ago. I didn't get to finish up the DX40, but I'm going to put that microphone stereo jack in it. I got one laid out, but I didn't get to that. So that's about it from here. It's kind of cool walking, 34 degrees, and a good wind like Mayor was talking about. So hopefully it'll warm up some tomorrow, the rest of the week. N4LQ's WB4NKL.
Okay, roger on that. Anybody else want to check in? Wonder where the Liberty gang is. They've been absent the last couple of nights. Yeah, I copied on the DX40, the stereo jack. Yeah, and Mir, we were on earlier in the afternoon, Cliff and I and Larry were on 3885, and both me and Cliff and and W4WWC. We're all three running DX40s, not at the same time. Cliff and I were, but we kept changing rigs around. But yeah, we were all doing pretty good. WWC, he had a low power. He was just running barefoot, and everybody copied everybody pretty well barefoot. And those things are only about 10 or 11 watts output, so that was pretty impressive. And the modification is to take the key jack out. It's on the front, and just put a stereo quarter-inch jack in place of it, so it would look exactly the same. And then tap off of that for your audio, and run it over to the key jack to the key line, which should be in the same place right there. So you could plug in a key or plug in a mic to the same jack, whatever you want to operate. The thing just came to me. I should have done mine that way. Oh well, too late now. But it doesn't cover 160 either, so I've got another AF67 here, but I don't think it's working right at all. I don't think it ever did. It was kind of a junker when I got it, unfortunately. So anyway, I'm probably going to be looking around for something else that'll do 160 before long. And it's 39 here, and it's been windy all day too, and it's kind of it just felt a little bit too cold. I did not take a walk today. I just didn't feel like doing it. Stayed in and played around with the radios here all day. And so that's the deal here. Let's see, one more time. Anybody else want to check in? Call in for LQ. All right, go ahead, Mir WF2U in for LQ. Turn it over to Cliff, I guess.
Very good. In for LQ and WB4NKL. This is WF2U. Good evening, Cliff. Pretty strong here, and Steve a little stronger. Well, the reason I said I thought it's a T150, we were talking about it, maybe how to add 160 to it. And I kind of almost jokingly want to say, whether you worked on it and did the deed and made it work on 160. But the 7300, as usual, sounds pretty good on AM. So I didn't even suspect. Anyway, tomorrow, as I said, I'm going to assemble this thing, and I'm really impressed how nicely the WD-40 cleaned the front panel. I also have simple green, but I figured that it might leave some cracks in the paint or something, because it's steel, it's not aluminum. It might leave some rust behind it, just like the other one. The old panel of the good radio has some big stripes of rust on it, and it looks ugly right next to the dial. I could have, of course, cleaned it and sprayed it, but it would never look like the original. And maybe I'll do it later sometime. Just do a different color or something, looking like it was purposely done. But I was afraid that it's going to happen too, that something will make it rust and then it will spread. So I did the WD-40, and it's amazing how well it cleaned it. It was pretty grungy, but no scratches on it. Anyway, I was on the Midwest Military Radio Collectors Group. Conditions were pretty good, but there were not too many people on. I don't know why. I don't know if there are any big infests around. I'm not aware of it. And somebody that I talk to always, this guy is always up here at Shelby from Florida. He has a GRC-19, and I told him that I use the GRC-19 lately on 160 on our net. He said he'll try to listen, and if he hears anything, he'll jump right in with the GRC-19. So we'll see. He has some really great antennas, including loop antennas and verticals and whatever. He really has some nice antenna for there. Cliff, regarding the DX40, also as I told I think yesterday that I used to have one. That was my first commercial station. I used it for about a year and a half in 1965 to 66. Maybe even after that I kept it. When I had some other rig, I had a homebrew single sideband transmitter that I used after that, but I fully paid it. And it worked great. So just to remember my old station, I found the DX40 at a Hamfest very cheap some time ago. But it has a modification. The transformer is not original, and it takes so much room that the modulation tube is not even in. They took the socket is there, but it's right next to the socket, so you can't even plug the tube in there. I'd like to find an original transformer for it and restore it. So, back to you, Steve. N4LQ, WFU.
There, quit talking, Steve.
Yeah, well, this N4LQ, I was trying to get I got the 67 going somehow, but now for some reason I don't have any audio. Trying to figure out why it doesn't. Boy, it's after me tonight, man. Well, so I'm back on the box of rice again. And of course now, even on low power, with my highly filtered, reduced B+ and all that stuff, puts out too much power to drive the amplifier, so I'm going to have to revert to using the attenuator now that I've found the problem. I haven't told Mir about this yet. So Mir, are you copying me okay?
Yeah, I copy just fine. A little weaker than before, but just fine.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess it's band conditions or something. I know it's difficult to get 100% modulation on these rice boxes, and hello. No, it's just oh, there you go. That's better. That's a little bit more modulation now. I actually reduced the loading on the amplifier. It's amazing what loading does to these things. Anyway, every transmitter I've had in the past 6 months or so has had seemingly low power, including the Valiant, the Viking, and the LMAX. The power just wasn't up to what it ought to be. And to make a long story short, last night I decided to just hooked up the T150 directly to a dummy load through an SWR meter, a power meter, and lo and behold, it was putting out 20 watts instead of the usual 10, which was too low. So I started tracing cables here and moving things around until I tracked it down to this one coax cable, which was 20 feet long, RG58. But I don't like RG58 to begin with, but that thing was attenuating my signal 3 dBs. It was cutting my power in half. So I replaced that with some RG400 that I had here, that Teflon stuff, and it came right back up. So now everything's got plenty of power to drive the amp and do whatever I want, and some of the stuff has got too much power. And I guess that Valiant would have had probably 150 watts if I had swapped out that cable. But that cable, I got that at a estate sale, and it was new. It was still wrapped in the original Radio Shack pack cardboard thing, and nice fresh cable, and it's been in use for about 6 months or longer. I don't know how long, really. And I've been having that trouble. Somehow I lost track of, I don't know why I hadn't run into it before and didn't notice it, but anyway, there it was. And I took an ohm meter and measured between the center pin on each end of the cable, and it's 1.4 ohms of DC resistance, and who knows what the loss is. And I think part of the trouble may have been because I had it wrapped around a toroid, about 8 turns, or well, more than that, probably more like 12 or 15 turns. It was easy to wrap. I don't know, maybe the center conductor migrated toward the shield or something and fouled up the loss factor, and maybe I'm really not sure what happened to it. But it just, it read that resistance even, unwrapped. So just to keep me from ever using it again, I just wadded it up and threw it in the garbage can. Okay, and WD-40 comes to the rescue again. That is great stuff. Just fixes everything, doesn't it? So anybody else want to check in? If not, go ahead and take it. Cliff, N4LQ.
SWB4NKL. Mir sort of got low on audio on me. I don't know if he did on you, Steve, but I didn't copy the last of Mir's transmission. And Mir, I was wondering, on your Gonset, have you got the regular Gonset base power supply? I think those are pretty rare. A friend of mine has got the power supply that goes with it. It's the only one I've ever seen, I think. I've got mine on a modified LMAX supply. That's what I'm running mine on. And let's see, Steve, Mark Lynch called me there today. He's been listening. He commented on some of the stuff we were talking about. But I was telling him about the coax deal, and I told him his value ought to put out about 140 watts or so. But he had some questions. He's working on accessories. He's got a D104 hand mic he's going to hook up to it, and he had to order a battery for it, and then he's building a TR switch. So he said it might be a while before he actually gets on the air, but he's working on it. So maybe we'll hear him on here one of these days. Of course, I guess be on 75 to begin with. Maybe he can get up a 160 antenna also. That's about all I got here. N4LQ, WB4NKL.
Yep. Keeps coming back to me, doesn't it? Let me try this LMAC one more time here. Hang on a second. Well, I don't know. That's pretty weird. Why? First the VFO quits, and now it has no audio. I must have bumped something in there. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear Mark is he's really excited about getting on the air. I'll tell you that. D104 ham mic's a good choice once he gets that going. Good little mic, as long as he's got a strong finger to push that button. And maybe he's got one of the older ones. Cliff, didn't yours just have a lever on it like most mics do, and then mine being the new version had a button? Is that the way it worked?
Yeah, I've got one of each. I've got one of the newer ones that just got the button, and then I've got the older one that's got the lever on it. And yeah, his is an old one. It's something he dug out of the junk box, and he had to order a battery for it. I use that little 7-volt battery, which I just put one of the 12-volt garage door opener batteries in mine. It's just a little FET amplifier. 12 volts don't make that much difference to it. I guess you could drop it down with a Zener series with the battery if you wanted to stick with 7 volts, but I don't think that's critical. And let's see, something else I was going to comment on. I don't know what's happened to your LMAC. It's kind of weird. They do some funny things sometimes. Maybe you ought to wind a set of 160 meter coils and put in that band X on the A54. I think that's what they meant for you to do on the X band. Just whatever coils you come up with, that's what the X band was. So probably could put it on 160 pretty easy, Steve. N4LQ, WB4NKL.
Yeah, the manual goes into great detail about how to put it on, what was it, 15 meters, I believe. Yeah, there's a section of the manual on how to wind this coil and that coil and a slug tune, ferrite slug, this and that. I mean, I can't understand why they would have skipped 40 meters and put 11 and 20 and stuff like that. And of all bands, why would somebody want a rig that didn't work on 40 meters, especially back in 1953? I mean, that's was it illegal to operate mobile on 40 meters or something back then? I don't know, but yeah, that mic of mine, it used a 9-volt, just a regular 9-volt battery. So they drastically changed that thing. Go ahead, Mir. WF2U, N4LQ.
Roger. N4LQ and WB4NKL. This is WF2U. You both sound good now. Actually, sound about the same strength now. And clear. The bend is relatively quiet. Before there was a little garbage from nearby near the frequency that was bleeding through a little bit, but didn't cause any problems. Anyway, what else am I doing tomorrow? Yeah, we'll be working on this. I have to start doing some heavy lifting because I really need to rearrange the shack so I can have more operating positions instead of just storing boxes and stuff like that on shelving that are within my reach instead of just putting them away. Oh, that's bad. I need like 8-hour shifts without any interference to work here for about a week, and then it will be all organized. But so nothing else, and I can't think of any other priorities here rather than just put that. Oh yeah, I know what. I have a 400-watt Collins airborne transceiver, synthesized, of course. That was also used by the Marines on a Jeep arrangement. It's all mode. It's a Collins 618P3. 400 watts out, synthesized. The control box is remote. And I have the enclosure that mounts in a Jeep with the wrench inside that has also the RTTY modem in it. So I must put that on the air. I don't have to do any wiring really, but just finish cleaning out that enclosure that was full of mud when I got it. And try that out on the air. So that's about it. Tonight I helped the XYL to set up her table at the Landville Farmers Market. It was handicraft sales this morning. Instead of like in the winter, there's not much agricultural products that farmers can sell at the farmers market. So there are craft shows almost every weekend. It's enclosed, so it's not an outdoor thing. They built a very, very nice farmer market building here in Landrum. So I helped her set up and then take it down. It's about 12 minutes from the house, so it's easy. Sold a few things. Anyway, so back to you, Steve. N4LQ, WF3.
Okay, WF2U, N4LQ. Interesting. You know, what's interesting, I got to think about this a while. Oh yeah, we got a farmer's market here, fairly recently built. I don't know how old it is, but it's kind of a pavilion. It's like, you know, it's open all the way around, and it's got a roof on it, right smack in the middle of town. And there's always something going on there, little activities and things. That's where they have the Liver Mush Festival every year. I noticed, I'm going to have to study this a while. Maybe you can just answer it, Cliff, because I'm driving the amplifier right now to, it's a little high, about 300. I'm going to take it down just a little bit. Yeah, about 290. And sitting here watching the output meter. It's got a power output position on the meter like most of the Ameritrons do. And it doesn't swing up much. It only swings up, about 100 more watts when you talk. And I'm driving it with probably 15 watts or so out of the 7300. Now, if I drive it with the screen grid modulated type rig, DX40, T150 or whatever, I get the same amount of carrier power on the amplifier, 200 and some watts, 300. But if I talk, it swings all the way up to like 1500 watts. You know, it swings way up there, the meter does. But I'm looking at my percentage of modulation, and let's see, it's about 86 to 90%, which is not a whole lot. Of course, on the screen grid jobs, it swings up. I mean, the modulation peaks up 140, 50%, something like that, which is a lot higher, but still not, you know, not enough to make that much difference in the power output swing that I'm seeing on the meter. And this meter on this amplifier, I believe it's showing the peak. Pretty sure it's a peak reading meter, and it acts like it on sideband. And when I'm driving it with the screen grid transmitter, it'll kick up to 1500 watts on peaks, but with the solid state transmitter, it's just barely moving. So I don't know. LMAC, I think the LMAC pretty much the same with plate modulation. So I guess it's the control carrier syndrome, and the carrier, of course, is going up a lot higher when I talk with it. But it seems like I don't know. I just have to think about this one a while. WB4NKL, N4LQ.
That's WB4NKL. Yeah, I would guess it's that power increase with the controlled carrier that is what you're seeing. Because normally, you know, that 3500Z is a power. The amps I've got a Drake and something else. To get a kilowatt out of it, you've got to hit it with 80 watts or so. So on AM, if you're just hitting it for 10 watts, I don't know. I wouldn't expect. Usually you got about 10 dB gain or a little bit more. So I guess that controlled carrier, when you're actually modulating, it's probably going up to 50 watts or so. And it's probably not doing that on the little 7300. So I would guess that's what the difference is. It sounds good. I mean, you got plenty of audio coming at me, so no matter what all them meters says, it's doing the job, getting the signal up here, Steve. So that's about all I can say about it. The flea market, or farmers market, we got some around here, a flea market. And we got some farmers markets, but they don't have much this time of year. I went to while I was down with my sisters, we went to one over not too far from her. It's a flea market, farmers market combination type deal, and that was nice. They had all the, you know, everything's in season down there. They had all the farm stuff and oranges and grapefruits and everything you could think of. I wish that was next door to me. And they were cheap, you know, the oranges and everything compared to what we have to pay for them here. But they have it, it's a once a week deal. She goes over and picks up quite a bit of stuff once a week. Like I say, I wish that was, that's the only good thing I seen about living down there. They can have all that traffic and everything. Florida's picked up so much traffic here in the last few years. It's just not even fun to go down around Orlando and on that I-4 exchange. So I don't know. I don't enjoy all that part of it. N4LQs, WB4NKL.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just got myself pretty confused here, I guess, with the amount of power. I mean, if I put the same amount of power with plate modulation, like the LMAC or the RICE box, I know if it's 100% modulated, the peak should be four times. So it should drive the meter up there on the amplifier, but it just doesn't do it. Same way with both those rigs, but with a screen control carrier rig, it jumps way up there. You'd think I'd be a lot stronger on the control carrier rig, given that information, but don't know. That's pretty weird. Mir, go WF2U N4LQ.
Yeah, sorry, I dropped the mic. It's on a low cable. I have to come up and get it. It's a pretty stiff coiled cable, and once I drop it, it starts swinging and gets away from me. Anyway, yeah, but good all around. And there was, it was supposed to be raining last night for a couple of hours, and nothing happened. Tomorrow it's going to be 30.
Hello, test.
And it will warm up and it will be sunny. I don't think it's going to be raining anytime next week, in the coming week. So, what else? I really don't have anything new besides all I chatted about before. And anyway, oh yeah, I mentioned the other day that I'm going to, that's easy and fast and it's in place. I just have to hook it up to 24 volts. It's the ATD that I want to put on the air. It's a nice 1939 design. And it's the same size as the ART-13, same kind of footprint. But it puts out only about 40, 45 watts. Fully plate modulated. And that's from 28 volts. And the receiver that used to usually go with it is an ARB. Of the fact that it works recorded microphone, but it's the Navy type, the RS-38, which sounds a little bit better than the T-17. All I have to do is put the dynamotor in the bottom shelf with that shelf unit, and I'll hook up the cables, and it will be running. Oh yeah. I still have to troubleshoot. Maybe it's not going to happen again. I don't know. With the AL1200, I haven't got to it at all since the thing that going I turned it on. That was about 2 months ago. That's the way it was. So,
WF2U, N4LQ. Finally got LMAC going here. The only thing is, it's only 30 watts. Let me see if I can get a little more out of it. Yeah. Yeah, I can squeeze a little bit more out of it, but let me dip my plate here. Hello. Okay, well, anyway, 30 watts, that's enough. Probably copy okay, I guess, with this monstrous modulation this thing has. Looks like it's pretty close to the right frequency, maybe a little bit low. Move up a little bit. Yeah, I can't, if I turn the amp on, it's too much power. So I'm going to have to work on that, get the attenuator in. So now I really don't know. I think it's a series of dumb things that I did. My band switch must have been on the wrong band or something, and the modulation was a matter of me having the meter function switch over on grid, and when it's in the grid position, you can't modulate it. I didn't even notice that. Boy, I tell you, I got, did you ever have one of those days when you did everything wrong? You copy okay, Cliff? WB4NKL, N4LQ.
Yeah, you're just about as strong as the 7300 on the amplifier. I couldn't tell that much difference in the signal strength. It sounds good. I was thinking that grid position, well, I might be thinking about the 68. I know one of them that you don't even get a carrier out in one of the grid positions. Yeah, it helps to get everything right. You were blaming it on the poor little well mic. Yeah, that sounds good, Steve. They always do, seems like. I got a phone call I need to return here, so I'm going to go ahead and sign out and make that call back. And enjoyed it tonight. I don't know where a crowd's gone to. We're going to have to check on Tony and John, see what's happened to them, and Brian and some of the other guys. Billy hadn't been on in a while, so maybe we can get them stirred back up. 73's for now, and we'll probably catch you somewhere around tomorrow. It's WB4NKL. Gonna have to get the wolf hung after him, I guess. 30 watts. Let me see, let me verify this audio situation. Alright, hello. Hello. No? There's audio in every position. I don't know what happened. Oh well, I think it's just haunted tonight or something. I'll put it back together and maybe I'll spray some WD-40 on it. Maybe that'll help me. All right, go ahead and do your phone call, Cliff. We'll see you next time at 4 p.m. Actually, it will be tomorrow this time. See you later. Go ahead, Mir. WF2U, N4LQ.
Sure, N4LQ, this is WF2U, 73. Cliff, and have a good night. Take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow at the old Friends Net on 80 meters. Have a good one. Anyway, Steve, you started to sound really great. Very nice audio, very sharp and penetrating, and then you started to get some kind of a fuzzy tone. Sounded a little fuzzy. Then you came back, but not as good as before. The signal strength is relatively the same, almost, not quite. But you started out really sounding absolutely outstanding. So I don't know if it's what's going on. So what happened to the AF67? What happened to it that didn't work and then all of a sudden it worked again? N4LQ, WF2U.
Okay, WF2U, N4LQ. Well, does it sound okay now?
Yeah, now it sounds like itself.
Well, I don't know. I was flipping that switch. Let me see here. See, I've got it in the plate position. And there's hello, hello. Yeah, I'm changing the position of the function switch. I'll put it back in the plate position. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. It's just acting up. That's all I can tell you. And I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, Mir. What started all this was I just did my usual procedure, changed from 80 to 160 on it, and at least I thought I did. And the band switch is a little bit obscure on this thing, and maybe I just didn't get it over all the way to 160 or whatever. I wasn't getting any power at all, and no grade current or anything. And I thought I checked that, and then a while ago, no modulation, no matter what I did. And then I moved the meter switch, and it started working again. So I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's just having a bad night. Anyway, it got a free ride to the fix-it shop over here on the table. It got taken apart. I guess it just wanted some attention. All these other rigs that I've been messing with around it here, it's probably jealous. But I've got the T150 doing pretty good, except for the VFO, and it's still FMs and wobbles around a lot and stuff. It needs something, and there are some mods that you can make. Apparently the coupling capacitor in it is too large, and it's overloaded. So W8JI says. Tom Roush, he's got a article on the web about it, and that's what he thinks it is. But anyway, I'm not too worried about it. I've got crystals for both of the net frequencies. Anyhow, do I still sound okay? WF2U, N4LQ.
Yeah, N4LQ, WF2U, yeah, it sounds okay. It sounds normal now. Well, maybe, have you ever cleaned the contacts on that, with that AF67? Or maybe the detent spring somehow is a little weak, and it didn't exactly engage correctly. Didn't snap in. Could be. And what else? Oh yeah. Thinking about 160, because I have a Viking 2 that is trying to get it to shake the spiders out of it, and the spider webs, and put it on the air again, provided I find room here, because it's in storage. With the original VFO, I read an article somewhere that it's not working optimally on 160 because there is not enough. It has less drive than it should be giving because of the output inductance of the coil. Something on 160, there is not enough inductance for optimal drive, and there was a little modification, and I don't remember where I saw the article, I'm going to do a search on the internet about it. But I wonder if you're aware of that. N4LQ WFC.
You're talking about the T150 on 75 meters?
No, I was mentioning the Viking 2. I was saying that I want to put my Viking 2 on the air maybe in a month or two. Just have to pull it out of storage. And I used that tool several years ago, but not on 160. And there was an article somewhere where they optimized, they added some inductance to the VFO output because it doesn't give enough drive on 160 for full power because there's not enough voltage developing for the drive because too little inductance. It's really optimized only up to 80 meters, and 160 was like an afterthought. You know, the 122 VFO for the Viking 2. That's what I was talking about. N4LQ WFC.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, the 122 doesn't have enough output on 160. I don't know, and I never had one. Well, I did have one, but I don't think I ever used it on 160. With my Viking 1, I was using the Globe, the WRL. I think it's made for the early Globe Chief or Globe King, yeah. And it's standalone. It's got its own power supply, and all I had to do was rig up a keying interface cable to go to the octal plug on the back. That thing that has a switch for 160 on the front panel of the old Viking 1. You had to flip it to kick in a extra coil for 160, but that was for the tank circuit, and that's the one that's driven by a string. The silliest thing ever was. They got a knob on the front panel, and way back inside the rig, they had a shaft with a big drive pulley on it with a string going up to the top of the rig to a switch, and that string turned the switch, kicked in a coil, and in reality all they had to do was run a long shaft from the switch and run it straight out the front panel, but they were trying to keep all the switches in a line just for looks, but that's the string it broke. And there is virtually no way to get to it. I mean, you had to you would have had to taken the string loose for the other switch, or actually the variable capacitor has a string on it. Fine tuning did, and you would have had to taken that loose. And me and dial strings just don't get along, so I put a relay in it and a toggle switch, and when I wanted to switch to 160, I just flipped that switch. Worked like a charm. So there you go. Now I don't know about the mod, but that'd be a good one to use here on 160, I would think. Good old Viking 2, WF2U, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WF2U. Yeah, I'll dig it out, and I'm sure I can find the article. It's not a difficult modification. I think they added something for 160. They added like I think an additional five turns or something. Anyway, I like that, but it's so darn heavy. I need to check the DX100B also, since if you recall, the audio went garbled on it. It sounded nice until all of a sudden it started to garble. Never had a problem with it, and I wonder if something changed value, like a resistor or a cap opened up or something, shorted, and or maybe just the tube is getting, one of the tubes in the preamp is getting tired. But I'd like to get back to the DX100 also, because I like to use it. Anyway, it's just about that time. I have things to do in the house. Let the dogs out now. Get myself some snack before going in. Before going up to the bathroom. Oh boy, I'm tired. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning to help out the XYL, and I never went back to bed, because by that time the dogs were making a lot of noise and I had to let them out. So it's I feel like I'm past my bedtime anyway. Just tonight. 73, Steve. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be on, of course, at 4 o'clock. N4LQ, WF2U clear, 73.
Okay, yeah, you're up past your bedtime, it sounds like. Oh, anyway, I think I'm a little bit over-modulating here. Hello, test, yeah. That's a little better. Okay. Anyway, I'll let you go and find on the garbled DX100. That's a shame, but I don't know. I've thought about getting one, but they are just awfully heavy and take up a lot of room. So I'll probably just stick to this smaller rigs here. Enjoy your evening. Try to stay awake for a little while. We'll see you tomorrow. WF2U N4LQ is clear, closing the net, etc. Good night.
I'll have to stay awake until the dogs come back in.